If you want to create a paper weaving, you'll want to gather a few things like a pencil, scissors, construction paper, computer paper. You can literally even make your weft strips out of junk mail. It's kind of whatever you have on hand. So I chose to use construction paper because it's nice and colorful. And the first step is to create your loom. And when you're creating your loom, you can use cardboard, but you don't have to. You can literally just use a piece of paper. So we are actually not going to cut this into strips. We are going to use this single paper to create our loom. So we'll start. All right, so I'm going to fold this in half. And you want to fold it in half kind of like a birthday card. Try to make sure those corners are lined up nice and neat. I like to put my finger in the middle, bring it down, crease, and crease. All right, so I'm going to now take my pencil and I'm going to create a line maybe about 1 inch from the edge. You do not need a ruler, literally just one little line across the top like that will be enough. And this is something that I like to call our stop line. It's a line that tells us where to stop our scissors when we're cutting our warp lines. So you can draw vertical lines from here to represent your warp lines if you need to, just to kind of keep them even. But a steady hand should work fine too. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut from the folded edge of my paper. Do not cut from the open side of your birthday card, right? Cut from the folded side. I promise if you cut from this side, it's going to look like a crazy hairy monster. So we want to cut from the folded side. And I'm going to cut right along parallel with this edge. I'm cutting nice and careful, making sure I don't get those kind of hairy cuts, nice and clean, all the way to that stop line. I do not want to go past. If I go past, I would just be creating a strip, and I can just do that other ways. And I want to cut all the way down, making sure that I stop at the stop line. That stop line really should not be any closer than 1 inch to the edge. If it's too close to the edge, your loom will be very weak. So you really want to stop about 1 inch before the edge. Try to make sure that your cuts are pretty even, meaning that they're about the same width to each other. If it is not perfect, you can try it again, or you just accept it because nothing's perfect, right? All right, one more. And you can kind of see now it's like piano keys. So I'm going to open this up. And now I have all of these slits. So these are actually my warp pieces. And I would want to then make my weft strips. So I could actually cut it this way, or I could cut it this way if you want it going off your weaving. So you would just cut them just like that. You want to make a couple. You might want to use a different color, so you can kind of have a pattern going on, like orange, green, on a blue loom. So I already have mine pre-cut, so we're going to go ahead and get started using those. The concepts are always the same when we start with the weaving. We always start, well actually when you start, you can start either under or over at the very beginning of your weaving. It doesn't matter. I'm starting over, over, under, over, under. It's that over-under pattern that we're using again. Over, under. Never go over two at a time. We talked about that. go over or under that last one. I'm just going to pull it so that it's even, kind of like that. I want it to be a pattern, so I'm going to now pick up my orange. And can I start like this? No, I cannot start like this because on my previous row, I've already started over. So I have to now do opposite on the next row. So I will start under because under is opposite from over. Pick up my warp pieces, my warp threads, or warp strips. Weave all the way, pull it through, double check, make sure you're all good, and never leave any gaps like this. Always push it so that your whole weaving will be nice and tight. You want to be pushing it the entire way you're doing it so that by the time you get to the bottom, it's all nice and tight. Pick up your next one and start over. So I'm going to purposely make a mistake right here to show you what you can do. All right, so I accidentally, right? I accidentally went over 2 right here. If you notice that, you can pull this whole thing out, or you can just pull it out to the point where you made the mistake and fix the mistake right in there. You don't have to pull the entire strip out to fix your mistake. All right, you get the concept. You would do this in a pattern, orange, green, or you don't have to do orange, green. You can do all the same color. You could do more than just 2 colors. You'd weave all the way to the bottom, making sure there are no gaps. It's nice and tight. Maybe write your name on the back. And that is your paper weaving.